Hey Radiant Souls, welcome back to my channel. It's time for the February 2022 energy forecast. So before I get to that, let me just say that if you're new here, my name is Heather Mays. I'm an intuitive counselor, author, artist, animal communicator, energy healer, and I'm on a mission to empower and embolden all of us to connect to our divine radiant light, which is a way to say our authentic selves. Because in my view, in my opinion, when we do that and until we each do that, our world kind of isn't as great as it could be. So it's up to each of us to do our part to tap into the magic within each of us and the light within each of us so that we shine. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but that's my perspective on things. So for the energy forecast, if you didn't check out the January forecast, that's on the page in one of the videos below. Go ahead and check that out. Although they are kind of branded for a specific month, that just means that's the energy that is prevalent for this month. If you are coming to this after February 2022, trust that there's still a resonance here for you in this material, in what I'm going to share, and it may apply to you still, even though it isn't technically within the month that we're talking about. That's perfectly fine. This doesn't kind of expire. If it resonates with you, if it does, and then it's appropriate for you whenever you're seeing it. So that's kind of the way energy works. It doesn't know the constraints of time or place or any of that. So the outline of the energy forecasts, we have a general theme that I have intuited from my guides, my team of spirit and multidimensional helpers. And we talk a little bit about the overall theme. Then there's kind of a word to focus on. Sometimes it's a phrase, sometimes it's a word. Beyond that, there is also an animal totem that comes in to help us calibrate our energy. There is a natural element, an element of the natural world that best reflects the same energy that we're talking about. And there's an affirmation, and this month there's an affirmation and a little exercise, so that's kind of cool. And then there is some artwork that I intuitively channeled to help us calibrate to the frequency that's being put forth for the month in this month's quote unquote lesson. Not lesson from me, lesson from the guides. I'm just kind of the celebrity spokesmodel, if you will, for that, whatever that means to you. So I'm so excited, and I've been looking forward to bringing February to you for a while. So many of us at the end of January, maybe the last half of January, there may have been some challenges, some reflections that were popping up for us to kind of tweak and calibrate ourselves. So what I mean by reflections is situations, relationships, things that we observed in the outer and external, that's the same thing, external and internal world, that made us a little itchy, made us a little uncomfortable, made us maybe push some buttons. And if you watch the energy forecast for January, our guidance for that month was to be at one with ourselves, atonement. And I think a lot of those things were coming up for us to show us where we were out of alignment. Almost like the lights on your car dashboard, like you need an oil change or your tire pressure is low. There were these little things that were coming up for a lot of us throughout the month, particularly the last half of the month, that were just a little uncomfortable. And so I hope that as you encountered them, you let them bubble up, you looked at them for what they were, and adjusted what you need within yourself to see them more clearly and to kind of clear them out, basically, because they are reflections of you, of your energy. Things don't come into our awareness if they aren't resonant with us in some way. And that can be a hard pill to swallow sometimes, because we might see things, or we might have arguments with people, we might see negativity around us and think, why is this resonant with me? And it might not be a one-to-one match, but there may be something within you that needs to learn to let those kind of things go, let them slide, take your attention away from them. Or it might be something that you need to work on within yourself. Maybe in some other way, you were short with someone, you were critical of someone, maybe even yourself. you didn't give your presence, your attention to someone, and so now you're seeing where people are impatient and hot-headed and saying things. So that doesn't mean you're impatient, hot-headed. That means maybe your attention wasn't fully given to a situation or to yourself. If I could wink, I don't wink very well, but to yourself is what I want to emphasize, because I feel that's for a lot of us. So we're seeing things in the outer reflection and inner reflections that make us uncomfortable, or we were through January. So what the guides were showing me, and it's kind of an old metaphor, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but if you're standing in front of a mirror and the reflection that you see isn't one you like let's say it's frowning, you don't change the reflection, you change yourself. So we've been doing that kind of inner work, or we've been asked to, it's been presented to us, it's been bubbling up for us to do. So that leads us into February, where, because so many of us in this community and beyond, across the world, have been doing that inner work. We've been doing that calibration. We've been taking the proverbial car in to be serviced when we see those lights come up. Even if we aren't consciously doing it, that we've been put in situations and we're seeing things unravel that cause us to step up in a way that we maybe haven't in the last 1 to 2 years. So we're chiseling away and we're doing that work, and what that is allowing, and you'll see this in the artwork later, what that's allowing is kind of an unkinking of this spiral of energy. There's been so much energy bunched up, and I don't want to say stagnant, but it's just been kind of coagulated. And now we're seeing it be able to expand. And as it expands, it's spinning outward, and it is churning at a different speed, a different frequency, and from my perspective, a better frequency, a happier frequency, one that enables growth, enables opportunity, and enables positive change. So don't read too far ahead into that, because what I also want to point out is as that spiral continues to unfold and unkink, it's doing it little by little. So this isn't to say February, boom, we get through February, the world's perfect place. That's not what we're saying. What I'm saying is this is the start of some of that. So what we're going to start to see is a softening, and it's going to be sporadic. So one of the things I want to mention is don't lose hope in that, okay? So the way it's been shown to me, and the word that we want to focus on for February is translucent. So that is allowing light to come through, and we'll talk about that in a little more detail in a minute. But what we're going to start to see is pockets of light, pockets of joy, of celebration, of freedom, of relief, of release, but very sporadic throughout the world, coming into our awareness. Or even on a smaller scale in our own lives, conversations that we have with people that maybe shift and trend a little more to the positive than they did before. And I have a prop for this month. They were showing me, the guides were showing me kind of a prop. So if you know what a ferro rod is to start, to strike and start a fire, the way that works is you apply a lot of pressure, you scrape off some metal scrapings, and the friction causes teeny tiny little sparks. And they're beautiful and they're light, and you get excited because you think, oh, this is gonna be it. It's gonna catch, it's gonna flame. But sometimes they're just little sparks and they go right back out. That doesn't mean you're not on the right path. It doesn't mean that the blaze and the fire and the light isn't going to grow. It just means you've just gotten started and you need to do a little bit more. You need to be patient. The other metaphor, or the feeling they were giving me for February, is as if you were kind of being driven down the highway as a passenger. So you're not driving, you're just kind of along for the ride, and the ride gets a little scary and it gets a little chaotic and it's going too fast and it's passing by things that you maybe wanted to stop and look at, but it's go, 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 and you have no control over it. February's energy is like now you've pulled over to the rest area and everybody gets out of the car. You feel like maybe you can take a turn at the wheel now. You can grab the keys and you can redirect and go at the pace and to the destination that you want. But again, it's this kind of softening. We're coming out of that speed, out of that vortex into a moment to catch our breath and a moment to readjust and kind of check everything and observe the light around us. So when we talk about translucence, as I mentioned earlier, it is allowing light to pass through. So the guidance that I am prompted to share this month is look around, notice the light, see where those pockets and those sparks are. And then sometimes we have a tendency to fixate on that or grab hold of that or think, oh, that's the one thing that's going to be the game changer. Don't do that. The energy is to surrender to it, to let it pass through you. Translucent, light is passing through. Let the light pass through you. And in doing that, each of us alchemizes and amplifies it. So this month is really to be the observer, to let the light pass through, to be cognizant of it and be very aware of it, because our attention to it is also what's helping it grow and magnify. So for the natural element, this is a really cool one. I got to see this example in person. The example came into my mind in a channeling session, and I didn't quite see what I was being told to explain. And then as chance and coincidence would have it, I got to see it in real life. So the natural element is an icicle, but specifically an icicle melting. So as things are defrosting, which, we're talking about this month being a softening, which could also be a defrosting. The water, like if you think of the way it happened for my house was there's a slanted roof, snow was melting off the roof. It created these beautiful long icicles. And it's a western facing roof. So as sun was setting in the afternoon, all this light was coming through the icicles and it was gorgeous. It was throwing rainbows and all different colors and it was just beautiful. But then it didn't last because the sun is also warming up that icicle and the icicles would kind of reshape, reform, and eventually fall off. So as we are observing this light, that western sun in my example, let it go through us. And the more it goes through us, the more it softens us and releases into us so that we just kind of become the light. We consume this in a way that isn't constricting. We're bringing it in so that it softens us and then we amplify it even more. So the animal totem is a fun one. One of my favorite animals because they're so fascinating. The octopus. So octopus tentacles, this is me doing octopus tentacles, sense light. Even when their eyes are closed or when they are somewhere where their eyes can't see light, there's like a tarp over their tank or some weird unfortunate experiment they've done for the octopus, but their tentacles react to light. So that is that feeling of not just seeing something and being aware of it, but fully taking it in, taking it on board, bringing it into your energy body so that you can then amplify it out. And then the other part of the octopus is that ability to shift and change. And at the blink of an eye, they can match a pattern. They can, look, some of them are mimics and they look like other fishes. They look like coral reefs. They do all these things. Their skin can change shape and appear to change texture. So have fluidity with all that you encounter this month. That was the main thing of Translucence, is passing through. Don't get stuck. Don't get bogged down in things. Okay, I think that's all for that. For the affirmation, it's a quick one, but then there's an exercise to go with it that's pretty fun. So the affirmation, I'm reading from my paper, is I acknowledge, become, and transmit the light. I acknowledge, become, and transmit the light. And the exercise that I was guided to share to go with that is a simple breathing and visualization technique. You breathe in, and as you exhale that breath, picture a sphere of light around you. And with each exhale, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you have this kind of bubble of light all around you. And that bubble of light has a frequency that permeates out into other energy fields, carries on the wave into the quantum field. So that's pretty fun. It's easy to do. You can do it anytime throughout the day, while you're sitting in traffic, while you're making dinner, doing your makeup, reading a book, whatever. It's just breathing and breathing out and picturing, and to the extent you can, feeling this bubble of light around you. So for the art, you will see that separately, but you'll see it's very kind of glittery and light, and it's that spiral that I was talking about. And there's also infinity signs built in, because this is such a pivotal time in the universe, in history, in all of time, where things are shifting and changing. And so it is that connection to all timelines, all races, all of the universe, that connection to that and the unwinding. So you can download that for free, clicking the link below. You have that free for the whole month that it applies. So for all of February 22, you can get that free. After that, it's available for purchase as well, but I do like to give it free. So when you download that, that's just something that helps you calibrate to all that we've talked about here. So you can put it on your phone and look at it. You can use it as a desktop screensaver, print it out on a piece of paper, whatever works for you, helps you calibrate to the frequency of translucent and being translucent. So I hope that was helpful today, you guys. I want to apologize, my voice is a little scratchy. I've been sick for a couple of days, but I didn't want to let that stop me from coming on and sharing this with you guys, because it feels like if you've been holding your breath for a while and you're finally able to kind of let it go a little bit. That's what the energy of February feels like. So again, don't get stuck in things. Don't get really attached to anything that you're seeing in the news or on social media or in your relationships, even in your own thoughts. Don't attach to that. Let it flow through and let that light flow through so that you become and transmit the light so that you are translucent. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Leave me a comment, let me know what you thought, and I will see you again soon. Bye.